Brother, took a little while to get on, but man, we're here. As the old saying goes, hunger's the best appetite, man.
We'll make it worth the wait, man. Thanks for everybody hanging on here while we're working through our challenges. Appreciate you guys.
Merle, thanks for tuning in here on Facebook Live with Brian and I, all the way from Atlanta. Ryan, Terry Gold, Miguel, everybody, share this out. Share this out. This is going to be fiery hot. Trust me. Trust me.
This will be good stuff.
Sometimes when Brian and I get together, we actually start to feel like there's this superpower that's coming on. So share this out. Everybody, if you're wanting to know some sales techniques and tips that are going to change your game, this is the time to be on. Share this out, and let's get rocking. Geez, just over a year ago, and let me tell you, the relationship that we have forged and established and really continued to nurture and grow has been something that I want to let everybody know who's watching this, that Brian is a guy that you want a part of your circle. He is an incredible individual, family man, incredible values, and really just an incredible friend. So no further ado, Mr. Brian Hess, thank you for being here on this awesome live that we're sharing today, brother.
Thanks for the kind words, man. The feeling couldn't be more mutual, brother. Grateful for you, man.
Right on. So I'd like to dig into this right away. I know people have been waiting here for a little while to hear this fire. So as you know, over the last year and a bit, spending time with you and hearing what you've done with Top Contractor School, with the sales mentorship that you have over at the Top Contractor School community that's being developed at Facebook, really what I'm trying to do is plug people in who are really interested in the sales game, the world of sales, and being able to understand what it takes to truly be successful with sales. Sales is not only about being a business owner, somebody starting a business or in a sales position, but sales is a way to communicate a frequency that allows somebody to have the trust that's needed in order to transact with an individual. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah. There's a lot to it, but absolutely building that trust through presenting people value that they can't get from other people or that they rarely get. Dealing with salespeople is really where sales, where the rubber meets the road, if you will, in sales. It's a world full of, for people that are watching, remember this when you're trying to transact with somebody, that most of the people that they're talking to who are in sales positions don't bring them much value. So they're just asking for money in exchange for a product. And it's more like, walking into a retail store and buying something off the shelf versus, having a true experience working with a salesperson where that person takes the time to understand your problems and challenges and really crafts a custom solution to those problems. And so if you can be that person that stands out in the industry and in your market, that is known as a problem solver and a person that goes above and beyond than just, being an everyday salesperson trying to exchange product for money, you will be very successful in sales.
So if you were to guide somebody through what a sales process or journey looks like, I know we don't have all the time in the world here, but there's a lot of great information over at the Top Contractor School community where I know you're doing daily Facebook Lives and so on to help people move their game forward. But if we were going to lay this out, what it would look like from the time that you actually do your prospecting through to the time of close, can you kind of lay out in a quick summary of what that looks like, what that sales journey looks like?
Yeah.
Because I know there's, a lot of people on here that the sales journey is, okay, well, I have a name, I have a phone number, email address, I'm going to do the reach out to them, I'm going to throw them my pitch or my elevator pitch, and then I'm going to just hope that they say yes, and I can collect the money, and then I can leave with that money and the profit and walk away for good. It's a very different world than that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So can you help us to understand what that process looks like for you when you are selling?
Yeah, so obviously, in every sales interaction, there's an initial contact, right? And in today's world, that happens in a variety of different ways. It could be an email, it could be a phone call, cold call, it could be stopping by somebody's office, it could be a social media connection, somebody that you meet online that you see has a need, or that matches what you do. And so that initial interaction, the key to that initial interaction isn't just hey, I'm Brian Hess, I'm the president of the pavement group, and we pave parking lots, and we do asphalt and concrete work. It is an introduction that has some value, that makes you and your company stand out from the competition. So obviously, there's an initial connection there, and if you soak that initial connection in some value, you're definitely off on the right foot. And so obviously, from that initial connection, your goal is to get another appointment, get another touch point, right? So ultimately, the next point would be to either set a meeting, or if you're in a residential in sales environment, you're obviously going to go from that initial contact right into what I call the discovery process, or asking some questions about that client, what they're looking for, what their challenges have been, and how you can ultimately solve their problem. So that second step, I catch myself sometimes saying that several different steps are the most important part, but I really believe that, without the right information gathering from the client, you're really unable to provide a solution, because you don't actually know what their problems are. You can provide them a product, but you cannot provide them a solution without asking all the right questions. And so that discovery piece of it has definite steps in how it's done. Judd and I working together, and working with the team in Pink Baco. It doesn't matter if you're selling asphalt and concrete or digital marketing services. There are ways to build value through asking really thought out questions. Take some time to actually think about what you want to accomplish, and then back into what questions you need to ask to actually uncover people's challenges, so that after you get past that discovery step, when you get to the presentation or pitch portion, you actually have something valuable and something that's different. So a key differentiator, you have something in that presentation that you can actually separate yourself with, because without uncovering that information, the presentation and pitch is really just going to be you pitching a product and sounding just like everybody else in the industry. So when you get to that presentation and pitch piece, every single recommendation that we try to make at the Pavement Group is custom fit to that client. So it's not just, this is what we're going to do. It's, this is what we're going to do. Here's why. Here's the proof. Here's the photos. And here's an explanation of why that is a great decision, of doing that versus the other option. So just making sure that as you go through that presentation and pitch, and you're explaining to customers why they should buy, that everything you're presenting them is tied to something that they told you they needed. It's not something that you're just deciding to offer them, but a need that they have that you're providing a solution to. And then, past the presentation and pitch, obviously, you've got negotiating and closing. And then, as you negotiate and close, if it doesn't close instantly, you have the final step of follow-up, which, we could do a whole live video on the different methods of follow-up for 2 hours. But that's the process. And it doesn't matter, again, what you're selling. You could be selling lumber at Lowe's or Home Depot, or you could be selling asphalt and concrete. It's the same exact steps.
This is really, really interesting, because right now we're speaking about this stuff, and I know that this is coming out quickly, right? And it's people may not have a notepad right now. They may not have the ability to take these special notes that you're advising on as a summary of the process. Is there a sales process diagram or something that can be found over at Top Contract Community on Facebook? 100%.
We can pop it in there. I think it's in there somewhere, but there's a pyramid that kind of explains, what that looks like, and then also the intention that you should have in each of those steps. So it'll break that all down for you guys so that you can see what are you actually trying to accomplish when you introduce yourself to somebody. Because if you don't have a mission, if you don't have an idea in mind of what you're trying to accomplish when you introduce yourself to somebody, then it's probably not going to come off with the value and the power and intention that you want it to.
Right on. As a side note, Ryan Austin asked a question here, and Ryan, we'll get back to you on that question in a written form, or we'll send you a private message. But feel free to ask questions on this comment thread, and we'll definitely get back to you. We will review this after the interview, so don't think that you're being ignored in any way, shape, or form. So again, that diagram will be posted on Top Contractor School Community on Facebook.
I'll post it as soon as we get off of here. Yep.
That would be great. Alex Lucic just said that the discovery is everything, and I would agree with a portion of that, Alex, for sure. That that definitely is a huge piece. But I think too, Alex, you recently posted something, and Brian, you posted something on your wall or in Top Contractor School Community about the follow-up. Tell me how important the follow-up is. So in other words, you call, you make your initial contact, and you've done your prospecting, you make your initial contact, you ask the questions that you needed to ask, you then give the presentation of value that relates to solving their problems, solutions to their problems, and then you need to follow up. You can't just leave it to die after that. You have to do follow-ups. Can you give us some stats around that, or give us a little bit of information about how crucial the follow-up process is?
Yeah, I mean, follow-up, they say the fortune is in the follow-up, right, for a reason. And, that is probably, regardless of industry, our industry is really bad at it, just following up, which, I just want to stop for a second and give you guys some perspective on what you're doing when you don't follow up. Because, in our business, you're driving somewhere to look at a project, you're driving somewhere to look at a residential driveway, whatever it is, but you're investing time to meet with that client, to create a scope of work, to put a proposal together. And so, in our groups, we usually, on the commercial side, we usually say it takes, depending on the size of the project, travel time, site visit, meetings, etc., 3 to 5 hours is invested into, potentially going to see a client. And then, we put a proposal out, and literally we don't follow up on it. And so it's mind-blowing to me that, you put that much effort in, and you don't, keep yourself disciplined enough to that process. And so, follow-up is absolutely a critical piece of getting business, because if you're competing against a guy like me who's constantly going to follow up and create touch points and be creative and stuff like that, you're just never going to win, because, the customer will start to question how you're going to be on a job and how you're going to be as an ongoing vendor for them or as an ongoing contractor for them. If you don't take the time to follow up now, what are you going to do once you get their money, right? And so it's, that, and by the way, guys, it's important to note, contractors are known for having negative characteristics, right? So one of them being communication. They don't follow up. They don't do what they say they're going to do. They don't. If you go out and put a post out and ask people's opinions of contractors, you'll probably get 100 comments and 98 of them will not be positive. So if you want to separate yourself in your market and really stand out from your competition, these are the things that you have to do. If you don't follow up and you don't find different ways to follow up, then you're just going to be lumped in with everybody else. And one of the biggest things that we go through in the Top Contractor School sales mentorship training is the different methods to follow up. So, and I say, man, please don't be the guy that says, that calls people on the phone and says, hey, Judd, just, wanted to follow up on that proposal I sent you, right? It's nobody wants to get that phone call. They get 100 times a week. And it's like, be creative, send them a video, send them some piece of valuable information. Hey, Judd, I just came across this article. It's been really beneficial to the other facility managers that I work with that are in your type of role, and I wanted to get that over to you. And oh, by the way, how does that proposal look that we sent over? Or, would this information that I'm sending over impact anything in the scope of work on that proposal I sent over? There's creative ways to come up with ways to ask that aren't just, hey, I'm asking for money. Hey, I'm asking for money. And so for you guys out there watching, I want you to think about this. Like when you're walking somewhere, you're out on a date. Maybe I'm on a date with my wife, and you got that person that's on the side of the street with the cup asking for money, and they won't stop. They just keep bothering you and asking for money when you tell them, hey, man, I don't have any cash, or I don't, and they just keep asking. That's what you're doing when you have not creative follow-up. You're being a pest. You're not being something of value. And so make sure that you not just follow up repeatedly, because it does, most sales close somewhere probably between the 6th and 10th touch. And some of the biggest contracts I've ever signed have been, 13 times reaching out. And that goes for cold calling too, right? You're trying to reach somebody and you can't get them. You gotta get creative on the front end, and you gotta get creative on the back end. So I always say follow up is entertainment, man. Be entertaining, be fun, be energetic, and people never have a problem talking to you.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm getting messaged on WhatsApp by people right now that are watching Facebook. They're not even messaging right here, but I'm getting WhatsApped. I've got 3 WhatsApps that have come in, and they're asking if they can receive some kind of follow-up questions, like 3 questions or things that they can use from a strategic perspective to follow up. Because I just got one that said, I usually just ask whether or not they've had a chance to review the proposal.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. If you slap yourself in the face the next time you ask that question, because people hate it. If you ask facility property managers or anybody that has salespeople that they're working with, they just never. What is better for you to offer a piece of value, something that could benefit them, and then ask the question? Because if you're giving them something of value, you've earned the right to ask that question. If not, you're just begging for money.
Cool. I just let them know that. So is there something that you can post on the Top Contractor?
Yeah, man. I'll do a live stream, either this afternoon or tomorrow in there with a couple follow-up tips and how to get creative on follow-up and some of the most popular ways that we use that are effective.
That's awesome. So, I don't want to take up too much time here from everybody, but I wanted to give this introduction. And this isn't the only thing that you're going to see or only live stream, the only information pertaining to sales that you'll see. I keep mentioning Top Contractor School Community. It's a completely free group that Brian had started about a year ago, and it was, designed for his sales mentorship and also the operations mentorship, but also just to, help the industry as a whole move forward, toggle it forward so that we can continue to, deliver professional presentations and messages that are required so that, we're not moving backwards as an industry, but moving forward. So, I guess, Brian, what I'd love to have, an idea of before we got on here, we were saying, top three things to really, really write down right now or to think about as it relates to sales tips that can't be missed when you are selling. What would those 3 things be?
I would say, the number one thing that came to my mind when you were talking about top 3 sales tips, and it's not necessarily a tactical tip, but I think it's an important thing for people to realize is, in today's market, there is more competition and there's more businesses out there than ever before, right? And so there's a lot of noise out there in the marketplace. And so the number one thing that you can do, I think, in sales with your brand and you personally as either a salesperson or a business owner is to make sure that you are known. So you get out of obscurity and get out there in front of people and make people know what you stand for, right? And so creating that brand message. What is your true differentiation? I've shared with everybody who's been through the program, we have a document called Who We Are,
Might be throwing there.
Yeah, man. So get out of obscurity, make sure that you're well known, have a set of company values that you run by and make sure that those are well defined. So we use a document called who we are inside of our company, and we've defined our differentiation. We've defined what we stand for, and it allows you from a sales perspective to gain a lot of confidence and certainty in the delivery of everything that you say to people. And so that's number one. So get out of obscurity. And number two is absolutely create discipline in your daily sales activities. So if you find yourself falling short in sales, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. And it is prioritizing those things. And everything that you say is a reason that distracts you from sales is the reason that you're not getting the results. So, you're telling yourself a story instead of making it a priority to do what needs to be done. And so, in our company, for me personally, when we need activity or revenue and profit generated, I have a disciplined approach that I take. It's 75 calls a day. I'm looking out of those 75 calls, emails, etc. I'm looking to have 15 conversations and set 3 appointments. And if I can do that, I'm going to generate more than enough activity to generate the amount of revenue that I need. And so,
hold on. 75 calls a day.
75 calls a day, brother. That is, and there are days that we get to the triple digits.
Hold on, you're telling me that it actually takes hard work and discipline to see sales results?
Yeah, no, it doesn't show up on a magic carpet, man. I promise. So I've been praying for that since I started in sales, but God's never awarded me with that magic carpet yet.
So hold on, you don't only have to go and just hand out a bunch of proposals everywhere and you just wait for the money to pour in?
No, that's not how it works. I mean, there's definitely things tied to the number of proposals and your close rate and things like that, but certainly the front end sales activity. So, finding ways to generate new clients, whether it's cold calling, emailing, stopping by people's offices, but, getting out of obscurity and then taking the action of, contacting new clients. And I'm talking 75 people who today don't know who your company or don't know who you are. You want to contact 75 people a day as often as you can. And if you can do that, if you got salespeople and you're doing that 4 days a week, you're going to have plenty of business.
Sounds
by the
like
time you're done.
Sounds like you're filling a pipe.
Yeah, exactly. You're filling up the pipeline. And then the last tip I would give is just, go the extra mile in every aspect. So, whether that's a detailed proposal with a lot of transparency, every detail that you can possibly explain that's tied to what the customer told you. And then also, going the extra mile when it comes to follow-up and presenting value. And, in the sales game, there's far too many lazy salespeople. And so, if you are the person who is not, being lazy, you're going the extra mile, man, you're never going to hurt for business over the long haul. And so you just got to do the right thing every day, and your activity will equal your results. You cannot do the right thing every single day and get the wrong result. It's something that I say quite frequently. And it's, you just got to set yourself to a discipline that creates that correct activity. And eventually those results come regardless.
And I think, one thing that I want everybody watching this now and the recorded version of this is that life as a whole is painful when you're trying to get results. So if I'm going to go for a 5-mile run for the very first time in my life, the second time, the third time, but the very first time is going to be the most painful to achieve that 5-mile completed run. After I've completed that 5-mile run, doing it a second, third, fourth time, and as I train to do it and become better at it, that 5-mile run is still painful, but the level of pain is not as intense. It's discipline to actually keep going, to do the run, to get better at it and practice it. After the 5-mile run is easy for me, then I'll maybe go after the 10-mile run and the 15 and then the marathon. And I think that's something in the sales world that a lot of people are guilty for, is that we start off doing it right the first or second or third time, we feel the pain, but then we kind of fall out of that disciplined routine of doing those 75 calls, or, you know, doing what it is that we need in order to reach our revenue goals. You know, so setting a goal, that 5 mile run, setting a goal, keeping that going and getting better at it every day is something that allows me to become more confident in what it is that I'm trying to achieve in that process. So sales, and I know this because, you know, we're in sales as well with, I think every business is in sales, right?
Yeah.
Communication.
Whether you realize it or not, for sure.
Right. And I think that that discipline and that understanding that it's not easy, it is painful, but if you stick it out and you continue to stay disciplined, it becomes easier, and the results are absolutely outstanding if you stick to the plan. And so, Brian, with that all being said, where can people truly connect with you? Where's the best place? Is it Top Contractor School community? Where's the best place for people to connect with you to be able to step their sales game up and also be able to be held accountable for what it is that they're being taught?
Yeah, I think Top Contractor community from a knowledge standpoint, that is without a doubt the place that they're going to gain the most knowledge, right? It's a place where I'm committed to putting a lot of content in there and giving people real tactical advice on how to improve their businesses. And but I am my handle on all social platforms is Real Brian Hess. So there's a lot of stuff in my Instagram stories that's probably beneficial to people. There's a lot of different places they can connect, but Top Contractor community is definitely the first place that I would go. On my personal page, Real Brian Hess, or the business page that is under my name as well. You can find me there, but all of those places, there'll be enough content to get people headed in the right direction. And you can also, you know, DM me anytime. If I don't get back to you right away, don't get angry, but I will 100% answer every DM that I get. So.
All right, and can we finish this off with some energy? I've never done this before on any Facebook Live events, and it's going to be pretty awesome, but I hope people join in and do this with me when they watch it. It's called the Sales Dance. Brian, let's get the Sales Dance on. Come on. Let's do the Sales Dance. Let's do the Sales Dance. Come on, give me.
I'm in the truck, bro. I can give you a little shimmy, man. I can give you a little shimmy. I wish I had like a bell to ring or something, so when we close some deals, we can ring a bell. But man.
Are you sitting in the parking lot right now of a potential client?
Yeah, I'm actually across the street from where I was with a potential client, but I'm in Detroit, Michigan, right now. Closing deals, man. Closing deals.
Awesome. Everybody, let's close deals. Let's keep stepping our game up. You know, at the end of the day, we carry around this life toolbox. It's up to you to add those tools, to get better at actually using those tools. Mr. Brian Hess, thank you so much for tuning in with us and for sharing all of this awesome value. Everybody, share this out on your pages. Share it out to groups that you think make sense. Don't forget, Top Contractor School community is a place, free group, lots of information. Brian, you do such a great job, and thank you for everything that you do and give back to all of us. We do appreciate it very much, man. Thanks for the
my pleasure, man.
Brother.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Much love to you, bro.
Same to you, man.
See you, brother.